More than 1 million children have been taken out of public schools since 2019, with parents deciding to teach them at home instead. The rationale for many is the lack of resources and concerns about school safety. But a census survey found a noticeable spike in one group of families that are also citing racism and critical race theory. ABC's Steve Osunsami traveled to Birmingham, Alabama, where parents worry that soon schools won't be allowed to tell the truth about the history of racism.
7-year-old Tyler Thomas and his 11-year-old sister Zoe are just like most other children in America because they're running late for school this morning.
Excuse me.
Their mother, Doella, needs coffee. The kids need breakfast.
Just drink it real fast.
And it's time for them to go.
Time to start school. Let's go, Ty.
But they don't have to go very far.
Okay, I need this down because today we're going to start with language arts first.
Homeroom is in a room upstairs at home in the suburbs of Birmingham, Alabama.
Contractions. Remember we worked on contraction last week?
And since the pandemic, more than 1 million other American families have joined the Thomases, who've decided to pull their kids out of public and private schools and teach their children themselves. In the school year that started in the fall of 2019, there were about 2.5 million homeschool students in America. By the next school year, deep into the public health crisis, it was 3.7 million children. For the school year that's starting now, an estimated 5 million American children are getting their basic education at home. Something's clearly happening.
I really believe it's growing because people are seeing the difference. One of my reasons, though, of homeschooling is because you're at school all day, and then we got to come home and do homework. And you've already been at school all day, and then your child is exhausted. What part of speech have we talked about for last week? And being at home, I can get school done in 3 to 4 hours versus doing 7 hours in a building, and then I can teach my children where they are. I'm talking about learning styles. We can play our song, and it's super easy and super quick. When you look at the school system, there's a traditional way of learning. Everybody is learning the same way, but are we the same?
No.
We're different. My brain process is different from where your brain process is. I am accountable to Zoe and Tyler. They were the gifts I was blessed with. So I want to do everything I can as their mother, along with their father, to give them what they need and what, not what the system is saying they need. S.E., very good.
She tells us that the needs of her children are a little different, in part because they're children of color, which helps explain something else that's new. While the U.S. Census reports that the number of families choosing to homeschool have jumped in every group, there was one group that stood out.
If our child was in school, we would be getting called all the time.
Really?
Because he would be labeled, he's bad, he's too busy, he's not a great listener, he's not focused, and all these things because he's so busy.
In Birmingham alone, there are now enough black parents homeschooling their kids that they started a new community.
By the way, if I'm going to be on TV, make sure you give a good side. I'm just kidding.
With more than 200 children.
Just in the last month, we've had 43 new members join our community.
In the last month?
In just the month of August.
I just want to let people know that we're not anti-school. We're pro a different option.
The kids grow up together.
Yolanda Chandler and Jennifer Duckworth are the mothers who lead the group and call themselves the Black Homeschoolers of Birmingham.
Jamari.
My youngest son lasted until first grade, but he was actually a victim of racism in kindergarten, first grade. You know, we had an incident where I just got called to the office one too many times. I was one of those parents who was there all the time. You know, I was actively involved with the school. I knew then when I got to that elementary school and I could see his little face through that glass sitting in that principal's office that I was not going to give them the opportunity to break his spirit.
Right.
And that we walked away from that day and we never went back.
They told us they've seen way too many scenes like this one at a school in Orlando, Florida, where police hauled away a little black girl in the first grade after an assistant principal said she started kicking and screaming over sunglasses she wasn't allowed to wear. And they say they're sick and tired of seeing kids running for their lives at school.
Our goal is to create a safe space for Black and brown homeschoolers to learn, play, and grow.
And there's so many of us out there in the community. all over the country.
Exactly.
They also share that they don't like some of the new changes to what's being taught in traditional classrooms. Some of them aren't quite comfortable with their youngest children discussing gender identity issues. And on the other side of the group, there are other parents who worry that schools are now being told to stop teaching the truth about racism in America. And they point to these 23 states that either have new laws on the books or are considering new laws that would make it illegal to teach lessons that were just fine a few years ago about sex, gender, and racial history.
I believe the curriculums is whitewashed, to be blunt.
One of those states is theirs, where next year lawmakers are expected to reconsider rules that would prevent schools from teaching what some are calling divisive concepts.
On September 15th, 1963, the 16th Street Baptist Church was dynamited.
And these families are offended that teachers could be told not to tell the true story of what happened to black people in Selma, Alabama, or during the Montgomery bus boycotts, or when former Governor George Wallace famously stood in the schoolhouse door trying to stop the racial integration of state schools. Today, one of the people defending this idea of avoiding divisive concept in schools is this man, the first African-American Republican to serve in the Alabama State House in nearly 150 years.
Did you have black voters, politicians, colleagues on the other side call you a sellout for supporting this?
Unfortunately, and that's sad.
That's not a word that you are unfamiliar with.
Well, no, I'm not.
He says he applauds black homeschool families for making a choice that they feel is best for their children, but reminds them that not everyone is in a position to teach their kids themselves.
Before I became an elected official, I spent the last 11 years as advocating for parental rights, for example. So definitely support that parent choice to make that. But also, I would love to challenge parents, if you do see that.
If parents see the whitewashing.
Well, if they see anything that they feel is inappropriate in our school settings, you can take your child removed from that setting, and it's good for your family. But look at the bigger picture. Also bring it to someone's attention.
Anyone who might say, you're privileged to be able to teach your children this way. What do you say to those folks?
Well, I honestly do think that I am privileged. And I tell my husband all the time, I'm grateful that we have the opportunity to do this. And I would say I don't want people to judge other people. Whatever decision they're making for their household, that's for their family. Repetition.
The Thomases say it's very likely they will teach both kids at home through high school, and say it's a decision that doesn't come easy.
Do you get tired?
I do get tired. Oh, last week I was saying, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna tell you what I said. Why am I doing this again? Why am I homeschooling? Why don't I send it? Like, am I called to do this? Like, questioning myself, because you do get tired. And then I have to stop. Or I call a friend that I know I can call, phone a friend. Hey, this is how, because I need to vent that out of me.
Absolutely.
We don't need to hold that. Like, I don't have to act like I got it all together. Hey, this is what I feel like today. I need you to help me mentally in my brain. This is what's going on.
You love your children?
I do love my children. I do. I sacrifice for those babies just like my husband, does for us as a whole. But I do. I love my children because they're my gift. They're my reward.